Good morning, everybody. It is March 20th, 2023. Man, I got to tell y'all something. When we get excited about getting up early, and daylight savings has done a number for us, because like it's just getting light outside. It's been long days. It seems like. But I tell you, when you get up early in the morning, you get going. What really makes your head spin is like, oh, I got to start my day. So, welcome to the call. This is Mike Alleman. We do this call, the Alleman Group. We do this call once a week on Monday mornings, 7:30, bright and early. Okay, and we do it just to kind of get a chance to talk to the team a little bit, see what's going on. There's a few things happening in the team, so I'm going to get a little bit more into detail here on that in a second. But being in the middle of March, April, we're coming up right on April. Spring, what do you call it? Easter's coming up as well. It'll be here soon. In fact, I think it's like 2 weeks, I'm thinking. And let me see here. Get my numbers stretched out a little bit here. Got my calendar. Yeah, so Easter's coming up April 9th. So it depends on what you're doing. Just think about the things that you got going on in your world and what's important, what's not important, what are you trying to make happen, and sometimes it's just about getting up and get going. Get a little warm. It's funny when you get going in the mornings and you get the heat, and we sleep where it's cold at night. Get the AC down, the temperature in the house down. It's like 65 this morning when we woke up, and I was like, oh my God, I gotta crank this heat up. Now I'm upstairs, I'm feeling the full heat effect, Johnny. I'll start sweating with the lights on and everything, but. Time's one of these funny things, because I was talking to somebody the other day. It's like April and then May, and in May is Michelle's birthday again, and we're going to fall in, we're heading down to Mexico. And it's like, when we get done with that trip, half the year is already gone, and it's like another 30, 60 days, half the year is already gone, and so you got to think about, like, what are you working on? What does your daily grind look like? What are you trying to accomplish? I know for most of the team, it's just like, man, I just want to make some checks each week. Like, okay, well, let's get there and do that. There's work that goes into it, 100% work that goes into it. You got to remember that. But at the same time, you also have to remember that, nothing was built in the day. Give yourself grace. I think that's one of the things I want to tell you this morning is give yourselves grace in the process. We'd love everybody to come in and kick it their first month. We'd love for everybody to come in and kick it and be where they want to be, but we're all a growth. We're all growing at different rates, and I just got to think about this. Think about this part. When you're thinking about growth, it starts. Think about just like I was watching something on Ireland last night, Johnny, Sacred Ireland, and it's like going all the way back. And they were really truly people of the earth. And they understood that, planting seeds, there's a growth cycle, and look, are all the crops good every year? No, they're not. And, so the crops aren't good every year, but how did people survive? How do we still have people on this earth if that were the situation, right? It comes from, planting consistently every year and every season. It also comes from setting aside from your crops, so you have whenever you're growing, right? You have some left over, and then when you have a bad season, you're not completely out of whack, And so like I said, each day we get up, each week we get up, we go, let's get this thing rocking and rolling. Let's go. Let's do something, right? And let's make it happen. And at the same time, we got to look at their numbers each week and go, well, that was that season. And I say each week is a season because it is in our business. We close it out each week. Then we start a new week, Michelle loves to go, okay, well, I didn't get all my apps that I wanted in this week. I'm going to add them to next week. Okay, it works for her. But if it doesn't work for you, just treat it as a basketball game, right? We're in the middle of the NCAA tournament. Final Four's coming up here in a couple of weeks here in Houston. where I'm at. I'm in Houston, and so you think about these teams have been playing all this year, working and building. Okay. But here's the thing about the tournament. It's one game that can make a difference. It's that one game. It's that, it hit me. I think one of the unknowns kind of came up, and I think the number, I wouldn't say unknown, but in the tournament, definitely not somebody that was predicted to win, beat a number one seed. And, it was like, what happened? Well, you know what? It was a season that the number one seed wasn't playing as good as the other team, right? And that's how you got to treat each week. You got to treat each week the same way, which is like, get out there, make something happen, right? And when the game's over, you can go back and look at the tapes and go, what did I do right? What could I have done better, right? But then at the end of the game, you got the next game starts. You can't bring the last game's troubles with you into this game, because that's what the other team wants. The other team wants you to carry the burdens of the previous game. They're here for this game. I want you each week just wake up and go, I'm here for this game. Morning, Johnny. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. It's good stuff.
Oh, man. I get up and I start thinking about stuff like this. I was reading my book this weekend, and just, it's like each week's a new team, a new game, we went out country dancing. I think we're all still hurting. We're all old folks, Beverly, like we're hurting from that going out and dancing. Oh, but what's crazy is we went out with the intention of like coming home at 10 o'clock. And I know it was after midnight. I don't know exactly what time. I do know that we were just sitting in the kitchen laughing and cutting up. And it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. And we said, we got to go to bed. Mm-hmm. And then we slept till like 10:30, 11, had breakfast at 11. It's one of those things that like, wow, did we really just do that? And I go, yeah, we really just did that. And we're not going to do it again this weekend. I can tell you that right now. And yeah. Hey, here's my message on that. It's okay. We just needed a little bit more time to recover. But they had some good music, or we were just having a good time. It was fun.
Mm-hmm. It's good. Well, I had some things I wanted to share. I wasn't going to be super long-winded.
Shoot, do it.
But what you're saying applies. I mean, really applies to this. So,
I'm psychic like that sometimes, Johnny.
Yeah. I mean, life in business, like, kind of like, business is business, right? But it is ultimately a simple thing, right? Like, I think it's cool to see like other industries like deal with the same stuff, like it's not just us. So anyways, so there's 4 things that have really like helped me a lot in the business. And we may end the call a little bit early just for you to kind of think about it. Unless Mike has something else that he wants to go over, but, and I'll make a point to what Mike was saying. Like, yeah, some weeks you can't take in last week or yesterday into what you're doing today. Like, I had 25 appointments booked last week, and I wrote like 1 application, and it's okay, right? Like that hasn't happened in a while, but it happens, and it's okay, right? What's not okay is for me to be like, well, I'm just not going to do anything this week, or I'm not going to follow up with the people that I sat down with, right? Because they may just not be ready at that point in time. So, but there's 4 things that have really helped me tremendously. And I think if you focus on them on a day-to-day basis, it'll really help your perspective, and it'll help anything that you're working on. So the first thing is gratitude. So once a day, if you want to write this down, you can, but once a day, like finding 5 things that you're grateful for, preferably in the morning before you start doing anything, just write down 5 things. It can be like, I'm grateful for coffee today. Like, it doesn't have to be some big or thing you're grateful for. It can be simple stuff. You can be grateful that you have, clothes to wear today. right? A lot of times that's what it is. I'm writing down, like, it's just simple stuff. What it does, it just really helps you realize what tools you do have and what skills you already or what things you already have accomplished. Just reminds you of that stuff. We all have different backgrounds and different stories, but that's the first thing. It's just 5 things. Preferably, if your schedule is different and you have, you do like quiet time at night, that's cool. You can do it at night. 5 things before you go to sleep. I try to do it first thing in the day. So 5 things you're grateful for. Can be anything. Do your best to write them down, not just think about them. Okay. And then the second thing is genetics. Okay. So, and you're probably like, what the heck is genetics? It's just exercise. And it could be with the virtual game we play, it could be getting up and walking outside your house or your office for 10 minutes in between. It doesn't have to be going to the gym. Okay. But some form of movement to take care of your body, right? Called genetics. So I try once a day to do something. A lot of times it's just a walk, but especially virtually, it helps a lot to get out and just kind of walk for 30 minutes. Some days I go to the gym, ride the bike. Some days it's a run. But whatever it is for you, I just encourage you to do something where your body's moving, and walking is a great form of that. You could listen to something as you walk. You could go walk with someone. If you're working with somebody, talk about what's going on. So that's the second. So first is gratitude. Second is genetics. Third is your grind. So that is your business, right? So if you have a full-time job and you're doing this part-time, your grind is your full-time job first, then it's this. Because your full-time job is, that's what's paying you. You need to address that first. But if you're doing this, full-time, then this is your grind. So I try to think about every day, like, my numbers are my numbers, right? Like, I can't compare myself to someone else. So what am I like? What am I doing with what I got? Like, this is my grind. If I have leads or if I have free time, what am I doing with it? And you're always going to go through different seasons in life, in the business. I mean, life in general, like, things just change, right? And there's going to be points where you're going to, like, what you were doing for a long time, you're going to have to change. Like with Bella being here, like, it's great. The business has given us flexibility, but it's been a big shift for me, getting flexible, because for so long it was just like, I have exactly this to do on my calendar, but now I have to shift that. And it's a good thing, but I'm just giving you an example, right? There's always going to be stuff like a lead we've been working and we're going to switch to a different one, right? Or a carrier a new carrier we're working with, whatever it may be. So whatever you're grinding on, like your business, okay, think about what do I have and what am I doing with the time that that I have and that I've allotted to work on the business, right? And, I encourage you to share that with somebody, because your numbers really tell a story for you. I think it's, I think it's really important. I was talking to a newer guy out in California. He's been here a little over 6 weeks, and he was telling me, man, my numbers are terrible. I'm embarrassed. I'm like, dude, you're actually on track to do close to 6 figures in this year. He was like, really? Like, yeah, let's look at your actual numbers, right? Because even if you've only written one app, if you actually look at the details, it gives you a lot of perspective. So I encourage you on that. The fourth, so that's first thing is gratitude. Second thing is genetics. Third thing is grind. And then the fourth thing is your group. So that's a group of people that you spend time with. So we all have groups of people, family, friends, we have business partners we spend time with through Zoom a lot more these days, but there's people in our life. So I encourage you to think about where your time is being spent with those particular people, right? That's important. And, building relationships with people that you want to build relationships with, people that are encouraging you to, have better, better quality of life, have better business, encouraging you in general, right? Like people who want you to win, not people who are just going to be negative about stuff, right? I think that's super important because that affects us, right? I mean, you flip your iPhone over to the left, there's like negative news every day, which at the end of the day doesn't really mean anything for us because we're in a communication business, right? Like our business is, how can I communicate to Mike that this thing he asked for in insurance is right for him and his family? Giving you an example, saying Mike sent the lead in, but that's our business. It's how can I communicate to someone that they can win in this business part-time or full-time? How can I communicate that? Because it can be done. Everything else going on doesn't apply to me. We're in a skill creating business, right? And just the truth that we don't have any overhead. We just have to apply ourselves. And anyways, so those four things, I want you to, chew on those. I think it will really help you a lot if you do it once a day. Because you're going to get, there's levels to it. You're going to get to a point where you made 6 figures in a year or, 50 grand part-time. You'll get to that point and then there'll be something else that you're going to have to tackle. It's just part of it. And these things are always going to hold true for you, even when you get to that point. And you're like, hey, I've done well to this point, right? Maybe it's been a year since you've been here. You'll get to that point. Like I don't think Cedric's been here a year or even 6 months, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you'll get to a point in the year and look back and be like, man, I accomplished a lot. Could have been personal stuff. Could be business, but there will be a lot of things you accomplished. And then there's going to be something else to tackle. So these things will really help you. It's very simple. It's something you can actually focus your mind on a daily basis. So that's what I had to share. I think it's helped me tremendously. And I can't really count how much it's helped me, but I do my best to focus on that. And then the one other thing I wanted to tell you is doing virtual stuff. Like we have our calls, this call and then the daily coaching call, but the product calls on Thursdays are super helpful. If I'm going to post it in the chat here, but like Marcus Richardson did one this past week and he killed it, man. And it was cool to get his perspective. He's in Colorado and a good buddy of mine. He used to be, or still is, a pastor, but he does this full time. Anyways, it's doing virtual. It's good to just take a break and go listen to a call. Basically what I'm saying, from someone outside of our organization. So it's an important call. It's Thursday at 12 Central. So put that in your calendar. Try to make that every week. Sometimes it's sales, sometimes it's product, but you're going to learn something every time. So that's what I got. I don't know if anybody has questions or anything, but.
All right, Johnny, man. Hey, thank you for the call today, for which you were just speaking of. There is one other thing I wanted to let everybody know. One of our great agents, Katie Williams, has been in the hospital the last couple of weeks. She has been diagnosed with adenocarcinoma in her colon, so it's a cancer. What we know is that it's still very early in figuring everything out, but they believe they got all of it out. So it started out with just a gallbladder, and then she's got this cancer that's in her. So we'll keep in touch with her. We'll let y'all know if she gets better. Just give her a shout out, saying, hey, thinking of you if you got her number, just kind of say, hey, we've had, there's been a lot of, we're with friends this weekend. They're like, there's been a lot of cancer going on. I think it just, it's out there. And I think before we may have had people die, we didn't even know had it. Certainly Katie did not know that she had this going in, a month ago. So keep her in your prayers, keep her and Clint and family in the prayers. And I know she's working to get to MD Anderson this week for, another evaluation. But they did cut out quite a bit and they think they got it, but there's still going to be some treatments. You'll know how this goes, right? So keep her in your own prayers and let's go out another day and do something good. We never know when our time's going to be cut short, when we're going to have to do things like deal with cancer and what that means. So go out and make the best of your day. That's all I got for you guys today.
Have a great one. See you.
See y'all at 9 o'clock. Get on the call, daily coaching call, buddy. It's going to be fun. Talk to y'all later. Bye.